So, again, how you train is how you fight, and who you fight is very important. If you're going against somebody who's never really been in a street fight and they only know cage fight in a dojo, it's gonna be a new entity for them. And I'm not talking like a drunken bar fight. I'm just talking a straight street fight brawl, not the wrestling thing where there are convenient trash cans and shit around so that you can fight them. I mean in a back fucking alley where there's nothing but pop bottles and shit that you gotta grab if you can get to it to use. Those kind of fights. Because those are the kind of fights that I grew up doing. And the difference maker is your skill level will have to enhance in that moment. It will have to adapt. It will have to be ready. You'll have to be ready to take a hit as well as you can give a hit. And in a street fight, I'm gonna have to do this poll because when I was younger, me and guys used to have this debate all the time. For fighters, it's like, is it better to be tougher or stronger? And I would win it if you went with me. And I always say, strength is great, but strength without control is not strength. It's just a waste of time. If you are tough, if you can take a beating and you can outlast, or the Rocky theory, if you can go the distance, you outlast the guy that's going to get tired faster because he's stronger and he's trying to hit you with everything he has. And this is the thing, alright? So here's the gigantic contradiction so you guys can call me a hypocrite. Alright, when I was forced to fight when I was 6 years old till I was 12 years old, my uncles would always tell me, if you gotta hit a motherfucker, you hit him with everything you got. Try to knock their goddamn block off. And I used to try to do that until I learned martial arts. When I learned martial arts, I found an easier way to beat people. I knew what the fuck to do. It was just that simple. No longer aim for the fucking head, aim for parts that make the body stop. So most people, when you're taught boxing, they teach you about headshots and body blows. And in boxing, anything below the waist is a foul, so you can't do that. In martial arts, anything below the waist is not a foul. And in a street fight, it won't nothing for somebody to get hit in the nuts. It really won't. And I can tell you right now, I've never been hit in my nuts because I've always tried to protect them. But the thing about fighting in the streets is that when you are fighting in the streets, your entire environment is your weapon. Whether it's the brick wall, whether it's the trash dumpster, whether it's the trash can, whether it's the trash can top, everything in that alley, everything in that corner, everything in that park, everything is your weapon. And you need to learn how to use it, which is what martial arts taught me. How to use everything I have around me to successfully survive a fucking fight. And the thing with that is, a lot of people don't know how to do that. And once you learn how to do that, your ability to adapt and adjust is all you have. And also, when you're doing this, you have to understand that the guy you are fighting against is going through similar shit, emotionally and mentally and physically. You're all thinking the same thing. You're all worried, and you're all like, oh boy, I got to beat this guy. You don't have to beat this guy. You want to beat the guy. What you have to do is survive. And that's where the trick comes in. If you're not well-rounded in your shit, you're going to have a problem. If you know what you're doing, you're not going to have as many problems. But if you're one of those people who are just thrust into shit, without conscious thought, you're going to run into all kinds of problems. And again, this is where your training comes in. How you train is how you're going to fight. And if you're going to fight softly, you're not going to win a soft fight. And like I said, when I told people, it's better to be tougher than stronger, because then you can go the distance. If you can go the distance, you can take them out, and that's part of the thing. And the thing with that is that people teach people differently. Okay, they teach people way differently when it comes to a fight. They, if you got the right teacher, if you have a right coach, you know, you'll be able to pull through. But you have to know how your body functions. You have to know how your body functions. If you don't know how your body functions, you're gonna be in deep, deep shit. And that's not something you ever want to be in. And it really varies by your opponent. If your opponent is stronger than you, then you better be a better fighter. If your opponent is tougher than you, you better be a better fighter. And how good of a fighter you are is what's going to determine the outcome also. But if you don't have a lot of fighting experience, you're not guaranteed to win. And in a fight, I'm going to be honest with you, there's no such thing as a guaranteed win. There really isn't. It's all about who makes that connection first, who has the more powerful punch sometimes, but more importantly, it's about getting it done. How you train is how you fight. And the thing about that is really quite simple is that you need to be aware of what that is. You need to be aware, but you need to be ready. Yeah, I'm sorry, it's a text. I got the wrong guy. But yeah, freaking, when you're in that moment, when you're down to that last ounce of power, that last bit of strength, you need to make damn sure you know what the hell you're doing. And sometimes a lucky punch. But when you're in a fight, how you train, the things you go through, the things you are taught, you won't remember that shit for a New York minute when somebody's throwing a punch at your face. You have two options: take it or dodge it. And if you can't do both or one or the other, you may be going to sleep. Simple as that. Like I said in the other two videos, I didn't think I could still take a hit to the face. Now that I know I can still take a hit to the face, I stopped worrying about it. Because there may be a time where I can't take a hit to the face. But right now, I'm getting back in shape. So that I'll be damn sure that I can block it. But, tournament fighting. When you're in tournament fighting, I go watch them. I don't participate because you have to have a belt to participate. I can never earn a belt to save my life, but I have beaten many of people who have black belts. I have beaten many of people who have any kind of belt and certification because I fight. It's what we do. When I'm in the streets, I fight. It wasn't something that I walked away from. It was just what I was taught to do until my dad put a stop to it. And fighting's in the blood now, and it doesn't go anywhere. But when you are in a controlled environment, alright, so if my hip was great and I was 20 years younger and I could get into the UFC if they were up to date with weight classes and all that shit, they had like a 115-pound weight class back then, everybody would know who the fuck I am. Because they would be like, okay, well, James, you got like maybe 4 or 5 knockouts and 4 or 5 KOs where you've been KO'd, so it's like 5 and 5, it'd probably be an even number, because I can't beat everybody, but I'm a damn sure try, or I'm gonna die trying. And again, a lucky hit in the first 14 seconds, I could be out. Let's keep this shit real. I'm not Bruce Lee, but 20 years ago, I trained my ass off, and when the UFC came into America, there was no facilities in the East Coast that you could apply for. And everything was online. And so, when I applied online, the lightest weight was 130 pounds in every fight thing ever. In Pride, in UFC, MMA, in Bellator, all that shit. All of it. from 99 to like 2000 and like 8, 9, they didn't have a lightweight championship. Their lightweight was 130 pounds. I was 20 pounds too short, and I just could not gain weight. I could not eat enough to gain weight. I'm not a big eater. They didn't have my weight class. And so when everybody's like, well, why you don't like UFC and all that? Because I couldn't get in it. And like, what? It's like, yeah, I couldn't get in there. It's like, you tried the UFC? I put my application in online for each and every one of them. They've probably been destroyed, I'm sure. But, you know, they didn't have my weight class. Yet they had a weight class for women, 115 to 130. And it's just a women's division. They didn't have light heavyweights and all that shit. I think Chris Cyborg and them changed the game. But, you know, for women, they only had one division for a little while. And then the bigger women started coming in there. You know, it started changing the game. So you live and you learn as you elevate. And about that time, you know, in my 20s, why I make movies was because of my surrogate mom. And she's like, damn. And I hurt my dad. And she was like, damn, you ought to make movies. Because that was damn fast. And I thought about it. I never told them that I applied for UFC. That's not something you have a discussion with over the dinner table, because everybody's going to talk you out of it. And I really wanted to go to prove my skills because people kept telling me I was bullshit, that I was phony. And it's like, if I get into the UFC, or if I get in MMA, if I get into any one of these fighting games, I'm going to dominate this motherfucker. Because they're not going to think that somebody 5'3" can do this shit like the guy and the girl in China who was just whooping everybody's ass. And I said, I'm going to be them. I'm going to be the American version of them. So when I put in my applications for all these MMAs and UFCs and all this shit, rejection. You don't weigh enough. Call us when you get to 130 pounds. I didn't get to 130 pounds until I got in the Army at 37. By then, well, no point. And then when I got out of the Army, I got a hip replacement. Now there's no way in hell I would ever be able to fight for money. Ever. There's no way in hell I'll be able to fight at all other than in a movie. And I like making movies, so that's not bad, but it's not the same as the real deal. And anybody who's ever really been in street fights, they'll tell you, fighting is like drugs. Alright? Okay, this is where I get rude, so if you're a child, take the child out of the room. Fighting is like... Alright, let's see. Alright. The only drug I ever wanted is vagina. Alright? And fighting is like that. For a straight man, the things that turn us into men per se is women and sex and fighting, you know. So you're gonna do one or the other, you know. If you're not good with girls, then you better be good at knocking motherfuckers out so that you can get girls. And I wasn't good with girls, so I got good at hurting people so that I could get girls. The problem was I could not get into the UFC. I could not get into MMA. I couldn't get into Bellator. I couldn't get into the ISK kickboxing. None of that shit. Nobody had my weight class. And I was 115 until high school. And then I stayed at 121 pounds until I got into the Army. And then I got to 130 pounds and that was it. Then I was damaged. So you see how that worked out? It didn't. But the point was, they did not have my weight class. If they had my weight class, I could have become a professional fighter way back in 1999. Because I was over 18. Because, see, in the year 1993, I was between 18 and 19 years old. UFC and them started getting on the American scene in the late 90s. So by the time I was 23, I could have been in the UFC if they had my weight class. And they did not have my weight class. By the time I was 27 and I started making movies, I could have still been in the UFC if they had my weight class. And then I would have had to make movies because I'd just be fighting for the rest of my life until they say I have to quit. But that never happened because I got a lot of rejection letters for the simple fact that I did not weigh enough. And that's about the time where everybody would pop out with that phrase, get your weight up, get your weight up. That's kind of why, get your weight up. Now, out in the streets, if somebody challenged me, we didn't weigh in, you know, that wasn't the fact. We were going to go. It's just that simple. We were going to go. There's no weigh in the streets. Your size, my size. You're 6'2", I'm 5'3". Not a fucking problem. And then the 6'2" guy wants to save face, so he'll be like, Nigga, you need to get your weight up. Get your weight up. No, I don't. My game's good. Let's go. 9 times out of 10, when somebody starts telling you to get their weight up, either they're really good or they can't fight. It's just that simple. I have never told anybody to get their weight up. All I've said was, let's go see what happens. Now, either you're going to win or I'm going to win. It's just that simple. There is no backing out of it. And this is how I lost sparring matches, because I wasn't prepared. But when the shit got real, the people that sparred with me and won won't fight me. And this is how you know where you're going with that shit. How you train is how you fight. But I am the exception to the rule. I am not the rule, I'm the exception to the rule. Because I train soft and I fight hard, because that's how I was taught to do it from the age of 7 to the age of 12 in the street fighting. And I just kept training until I found Mr. Innocent on Taekwondo. And then after he passed, I just kept learning what I've been learning and doing what I've been doing. Picked up a few styles from the streets and became the jack of all trades. So remember this as we go, because I'm closing out. I probably won't post these before tomorrow. But as I'm closing out, you have to remember 2 very important things. 1, when the fight starts, it's only going to end one of 2 ways. There's going to be a victor and there's going to be a loser. And the third way is, sadly, there could be a death. We don't want to fight like that. But, beef is beef. And a lot of people, when they start beefing, they don't know when to cut it off the fat. They want to go all out and then try to hurt you. And your best bet is you're going to do the same. So if y'all both are experts at fighting, someone's probably going to die. You don't want that, because it's going to be kind of hard to prove self-defense when you both volunteered to go fight in the back alley. Try to settle this problem like men, but not settling it like men. Instead of talking it out, we're going to duke it out, and last man standing is pretty much going to be the winner. The problem with that is, a lot of people got a lot of pride. A lot of people got a lot of fight. A lot of people got a lot of I'm not giving up. I'm one of those people. Let me extend this a little longer. I have some friends, and we play fight and wrestled and shit, and they throw me all around and everything, and by the time it's done, they're begging me to stop. And when I say begging me to stop, it's not because I'm beating their ass, it's because I keep coming back. It's like, what is wrong with you? How much of a beating are you willing to take? I said, I can do this shit all goddamn day long, because it's what I do. It's who I am, it's who I've become. My friend Adrian Burton, A-Dog, that's your shout out. He will tell you, James is a never say die mixed guy. This little bastard will not stay down for nothing. I can choke him, he ain't gonna tap, I can body slam him, he gonna get back up within 4 seconds. He's not gonna stay down very long. So I need to end his shit. I said, because that's what I was taught when I was a little boy. You don't fight unless you fight. And you don't stop until you stop your enemy. So you gotta look at that shit. And I would have been devastating in the UFC, because there's no quitting me. Now I'm old. There's still no quitting me. But I'm a lot smarter at my fighting tactics now, because age comes with wisdom. Or wisdom comes with age, however they want to say it. But the thing with fighting, you have to know your way around a fight. You don't necessarily have to know how to fight, but you damn sure have to know how to avoid hits, get around a fight, and you're not going to avoid them all. You're not going to avoid them all. So you need to learn how to take it. So you should pick up martial arts, wrestling, boxing, and other assorted training to go with it. Push-ups, calisthenics, shit like that. Because you need to be in great shape. Clearly, I'm not in great shape. So I'm going to get back in shape. I was supposed to get in shape like months ago, and I just been lazy and neglecting the shit. So that's all on me. But I'm going to change that, because I'm going to program my clock on this thing and set a work schedule so that I can work out at various times during the day, at least 3 days a week, maybe twice on Sunday. Because Sunday all I do is wash clothes and stuff. But for the most part, you have to know your way around a fight. It does not hurt to have an extra oomph. It does not hurt to know it doesn't hurt to know human body mechanics. It doesn't hurt to know that your arm goes this way and that way, this way and that way. It doesn't go that way. So, knowing enough about the human body will teach you how to destroy the human body. But you also have to remember, here's reality. What you can do to them, they can do to you. Keep that in mind. Sleep well. This is Kung Fu Habit number 2. I'm James Williams Jr. Be seeing you.